In this video, I'm sharing with you the 5 things you can do to gain momentum on your book. Hi, I'm Ashley Mansour, and I help people become best-selling authors and write their books in as little as 40 hours. If that sounds good to you, well, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. 5 things that you can do to gain momentum on your book. What are they? What do you need to be thinking about? What are the key steps you can take to actually get started and get off on the right foot? Sometimes we just don't set off on the right foot. We make a false start and we kind of come back and go, oh, I'm not where I need to be. Okay, so this is to address that. Number 1, the first step you can take to gain some momentum on your book is to decide, really decide on your topic. Be definitive about this. A lot of times, how you know someone is ready to write their book is because they're very clear with their language about what type of book it is, what the topic is, and they can articulate that to you, okay? So if you've been kind of mulling over a few different ideas and it's all been up here, but you haven't actually expressed anything, here are 2 things I want you to do. Number 1, write your idea down. Actually spend a few moments to journal on this or free write on this. Write your idea down. Read it back to yourself out loud and see how clear it sounds. Okay? Can you derive like a 1-sentence pitch from what you just wrote? Is it so clear that like a 3rd grader could understand it? Because if it's not, and you're getting embroiled in complexity, if you're getting like mired in a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't really connect, then you're just not clear yet enough on your topic. You don't yet understand what it is you want the book to be about. And so you need to develop that a little more. You need to crystallize that topic, hone in on just that idea, okay? Don't get too big with it. Focus and shrink down to the core nugget of what is interesting to you about this topic or idea. So if let's say you're writing a book in self-development, don't just say, well, I want to write a book to help people make their lives better. It's like, yes, you and every other person that we come across. And specifically, what do you want to say to your ideal reader to help them make their lives better? How are they going to do that? What is your framework, your methodology, your perspective, your point of view? Dial it in. See if you can articulate it even more clearly, okay? Now, if you can't write about it clearly and you can't talk to someone else clearly, those are 2 things you need to do. So step 1 is to journal about it, write it down, and get clear with your language, okay? Be intentional. The second thing you can do is to start verbalizing your topic or your idea to others. Now, when you start sharing your goal and you say, okay, I'm gonna write a book this year. I wanna write my book. And the topic is parenting or the topic is wellness. Get more defined with what you're saying, okay? And be specific about it. So for example, I wanna write a wellness book for women over 45 that are struggling with losing weight, losing belly fat, whatever it is. Okay, or I want to write a parenting book for new parents that are brand new, just starting out, and they're struggling with having twins or triplets or something like that, right? Be really specific. And notice in there, you're not just defining the topic, but you're also starting to define who it's for, right? So get really specific on the topic, be able to articulate it, verbalize it to other people. Now, this is your test, right? Because if you can't confidently and clearly talk about what your topic is, and you can't express it to other people in verbal form or even to yourself in written form, then there's no way you're ready to write your book yet, right? So by dialing this stuff in, you're getting momentum. You're building up your readiness to write. No one starts out with readiness to write. I don't care how inspired you feel, how motivated you feel, you still have to do the legwork. You still have to answer those core pre-writing questions that we talk about here so much all the time, right? And so this is a critical action step that you can take to actually define your topic, get clear about it, take it out of here and put it out into the world in words and written in verbal form well before you start writing. That will help you see and hear, is it clear? Is it specific? Am I being intentional with my topic, or is this so generic that I have no idea how it's going to stand out? Okay. Now, if that is you and you are faced and confronted with a very generic topic, first of all, don't panic, don't freak out. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, everyone's written on this. There's so many books on this. It's like, yes. And there are also so many books that are presenting unique, defined, specific perspectives, frameworks, modalities, right? They're coming at it from different points of view, and you have the opportunity to do the same thing. Okay. So that's what I want you to do for step number 1. Now, step number 2, the second way that you can gain momentum with your book is to decide on your target audience. That means get really clear about who is your ideal reader, who is the person you most want to reach with your book. Okay. Now, instead of just focusing on, the demographics of your reader, start thinking about who they are up here and in here, right? Who are they in their minds? Who are they in their spirits? Who are they in their souls? What is the emotional experience? What is the feeling that this ideal reader has when they come to the point of wanting your book? In other words, what draws them to your work? Why should they pick it up? Why should they read it? That is a key question, a key piece of understanding that so often gets missed. This layer of understanding the psychographics of your ideal reader, not just the demographics of your ideal reader, and being able to think in the way that they think about the specific challenge or problem or idea that your book deals with, right? So you want to get clear on your target audience and really start to dial this in. Now, I like to think about your book buyer avatar, the person that is going to be purchasing your book. Try to imagine who they are and get in tune with their thoughts, dreams, hopes, feelings, ideas, right? You're going to be talking to them and having kind of a conversation with them throughout your book. So you want to get to know them pretty well before you set off on that writing journey. Otherwise, what happens is, and you see this with first-time authors or newbie writers, right? You see that they're primarily writing for themselves. They're kind of in dialogue with themselves first. So if that's you and you started writing and you're looking at your manuscript, you're looking at what you've written so far, and it's like you've pretty much just been talking to yourself the whole time, right? And you'll kind of know it. The ideal reader's nowhere to be found. You can tell because you're going to find a dominance of the first person I. I think this, I think that, I did this, I did that, right? Versus the second person you. And you're going to be talking to your ideal reader. I'm sure you think, I'm sure you feel, I'm sure you've encountered, right? Maybe this is your challenge too. So if you're reading back your work that you've written so far and it's mostly first person I, and there's not that second person you in there, then it's probably because you haven't taken this step yet and you're not clear enough about who your ideal reader is. Now, a lot of first-time authors get really, really defensive about this, and they'll just say, well, I know who my ideal reader is. Like, yeah, it's women. I want all women reading this book. Or it's for teens. I want all teenagers reading this book, right? Or this book is for medical professionals. This book is for nurses, right? And it's like, you have to get clearer about it at the beginning. You have to really know this person and identify with them. Otherwise, you'll be writing in conversation with yourself and not in conversation with them. Okay, so that's why this is step number 2. So when you're connecting with your target audience on the page, something magical happens and you create this emotional connection where your reader is feeling you and you're in tune with your reader and you're pulling them through the content in a very seamless way. You know what they want. You're speaking into that all of the time, their hopes, their fears, their challenges. You can see why that would be so important in writing a quality book. It's not just about you kind of just sharing what you know. It's actually sharing what your audience needs from you. It's actually being in tune with their needs first and channeling that into the manuscript. So we need to really take a step back. And I want you to think about getting more specific with your target audience doing this one thing, okay? It's very easy to do, but you may feel uncomfortable doing it because what most newbie writers or first-time authors will say is they'll just kind of say, well, this book is for anybody who, or this book is everybody that. I want you to take that language completely off the table. Your book is not for anybody and it's not for everybody. And you must know that going into the writing process, okay? You gotta know it's not for everybody and anybody. Your book is gonna be for specific people with specific needs and challenges and hopes and dreams and fears. That's who it's gonna be for. And so if you're kind of under this assumption that by saying it's for everybody or for anybody, you're broadening your target audience, what's happening is you're actually cutting yourself off from even having a target audience. Because when you're not defined, when you're general like that, and you try to speak to everybody, you know what I'm gonna say, right? You end up speaking to nobody. So you've got to speak to your target audience. You've got to be in tune with them and what they need most from you, okay? So that's step number 2. Let's get into step number 3. Step number 3, another decision point here. I want you to decide on your goals for the book, okay? I want you to be thinking about what you imagine the book to do for you in the world, what you want it to do for your readers, what you want it to do for your community. What are your goals for the book? When you create this thing that's gonna have a life cycle in the world to be bought and sold and reviewed and shared, what do you see for yourself? What do you envision for you and for that book? You see yourself winning awards, speaking on stages, landing clients, right? Maybe building your business off of the book, maybe making a bigger impact, helping other people, building out some type of speaking or consulting side to what you do, right? But if you're not clear, if the vision is hazy, this is another opportunity to gather momentum, to gather some speed. And the way you're going to do that is to dial in your goals. I want you to write down a list of your top 10 goals for the book. Be really clear, 1 to 10. What are the specific key things that you see yourself and the book doing in the world? If you can't picture it yet, if you're not clear enough on what those 10 things are, again, don't start writing. You're not writing from a place of purpose. You're not writing from a place of intention. You're not writing from a place of clarity because you don't yet know or you can't yet see where you're headed. And that's demotivating. That's difficult. That's where doubt creeps in. And that's where we start to give up. Okay. So before you set off to write, before you begin the journey of writing your book and you want to gain some momentum, or even if you've already started, but the momentum has stalled and you found that you're not as inspired now as you were at the start, it's probably because you haven't done these 3 key steps at the very beginning. Okay, so step number 1 is get clear on your topic. Decide on your one specific core topic that you're going to cover and be able to articulate it clearly. Number 2 is figure out your ideal reader. Get clear on your target audience. Who are you trying to reach? Remember to eliminate the verbs, the words anyone and everyone, because that's not who you're writing for. You're writing for a specific person who needs you and needs this book, okay? And then number 3, decide on your goals, right? So there's lots of decision points here. You have to decide on your topic, decide on your target audience, decide on your goals. Decision points are so valuable because when you haven't made a decision, it's very easy to wane and kind of shift back and forth and be very flexible. But when you're in that state, you're not committed, you're not moving forward. So you have no energy and you have no momentum behind you. That's where we want to dial this in so that when you're clear and you've made those critical key decisions, you feel empowered, you feel confident, you feel clear. You know where you're headed, you know who it's for, what you're writing on, and what you see for yourself, right? So very basic fundamental things, and yet you'd be surprised how many people don't lock this in before they start writing, okay? These are the key things. Now let's get to number 4 on the list, okay? So we've come away from goals and we've talked about what you see. In addition to that, I want you to do a fourth thing, okay? So the fourth key here, the fourth step is another decision point. So step number 4 is another critical decision point, and it's up to you to take this step. What I want you to do is decide to learn the process. I'll say that again, decide to learn the process. I want you to be intentional, decide that you're not going to just kind of bumble through the book writing and publishing process. I want you to decide to learn it. I want for you to go into it feeling a sense of confidence that you can do the thing and accomplish, you can realize your vision, okay? But the only way that you're going to do that is by committing to learning what you need to know. You've got to close that gap, right, from where you are to where you want to be. And in between, there is a lot of learning. You can condense that learning process. And the typical way people do that is by they work with people that have already achieved the vision that they're setting out to try and achieve. So you can collapse that learning process, but you still need to commit. You still need to decide to learn the process. You still need to decide that you're going to do this from a place of information, education, knowledge. You want to commit to the idea that you're going to be an informed, educated, up-to-date, current author. You're not going to go into this without that, right? Such an important piece. And again, people don't do that. They don't set themselves up for success. They instead think, well, I'll figure it out as I go. And for a lot of it, yes, you will. However, you've got to commit and decide that you're going to put in the learning time. You're going to put in the education time and get yourself clued in to what you must need to know. I'm really passionate about this because, number one, I believe so strongly in education. I believe in, applied knowledge is power. I believe in acquiring information so that you know enough to be dangerous on your topic and you can actually improve your ability to show up and you improve your skills. I believe so much in all of that. And it's why the programs that I create are so education focused. I want my authors to be informed. I want them to come to the table when they speak to publishers, when they speak to literary agents, when they're negotiating their book deals, when they're on the phone with publicists and they're getting interviewed on podcasts and in media. I want them to be informed about it. I want them to feel confident. And the way that you do that is you commit to learning it. You have to commit to learning it. If you're going into this thinking, I just want to do it, want it done for me, but I don't really want to know how it works, then authorship is not for you. Book writing and publishing is not for you. So you need to go in and commit to learning the things, okay? So that said, there's lots of ways you can collapse the learning time. You can learn efficiently, you can learn proactively, and you can learn from people like me, experts that teach this for a living and that guide people through the process from start to finish. That's one way to collapse your learning time and shorten the learning curve, right? So that's one way to collapse your learning time and shorten the learning curve, but you actually have to commit to it. Okay, so step number 4 is to decide to learn the process of writing and publishing and marketing your book. Now, the good news is nobody knows all of this. I don't care how much of an expert you are, how many bestsellers you have. This world is changing and evolving all the time. So there's always something new to learn. And I want you to embrace that process and feel great about it. Now, so we covered step number 4. We've covered so many great things in today's live stream. And what I want to do is close out by speaking about step number 5. This is the last piece that I have for you today, the last way that you can gain momentum on your book. And step number 5 is to decide upon creating the right environment to do this. I say this time and time again, and so I want you to really, really let this sink in, but here's the truth. Nobody writes a book in a vacuum. I know it can feel like that. I know it can be perceived as a solitary process, but I promise you, the great authors, the great bestsellers, the greatest of the great award winners out there, most successful, they all know that a book is a very collaborative endeavor. They all get support early on. They all know the book must be written in a collaborative way. And so that's another difference maker in, successful authors versus kind of the newbie authors that don't really succeed, don't get anything out there. They know to entrust in experts and surround themselves with the right people. Okay. They create that environment for themselves. Okay. So being around other authors, being around experts, hiring mentors, hiring coaches, working in a community of people that have already done this or that are in the same space that you're in, wanting to create the book. You need to surround yourself with the right people. That is so much a part of success. And it's something I really wish I'd known this principle earlier in my life, because I would have spent more time building these relationships that I'm building now. Relationships with publishers and agents and editors and, other coaches, people that help authors. It's so, so important to have that strong network and sense of community. So if you've been trying to do this alone, you haven't built that environment for success, you haven't gotten a mentor, a coach, an expert to help you, then really, truly, you need to reach out. You need to get support, whether it's from someone like me or someone else in this space. You can't do this successfully alone. So I really want you to take that in and be intentional with who you share your progress with. Not everybody's going to understand your desire to write and publish a book. Not everybody's going to get it. So be intentional about who you let into that world and who you choose to partner with in the creation of your book. Of course, it goes without saying you want to partner with someone you trust, that understands your vision and what you're wanting to create, and someone that can be there in a supportive way for you throughout the entirety of the process. Okay. You may have different people come in and out, but ultimately I'm a big fan of having someone in your corner that will be with you from the beginning until the end. Okay. And I do pride myself on being that person for my author clients when they decide and choose to work with me, because I think it's important that they have a consistent mentor, someone that they can always turn to and ask a question or say, I'm confused. I don't know what to do next. Give me your thoughts, give me your perspective. I want to be that person for them. And I'm very passionate about, recommending to you that you should also have that person in your corner. Okay. So that number 5, the environment is people. Get in the right environment to do this. Okay. Decide who you're going to connect with, who you're going to learn from, and decide to grow in a space with other people. Not everybody has this mindset, but it's such an important mindset for success, to create a growth mindset, a mindset that every single day you're going to strive toward your goals, and you're going to do it surrounded by people that support you and that care about your success and that want you to do better and be better and create a better future for yourself and your family and your loved ones, right? That is so key to you being able to achieve the thing. It's not, the good news is it's not all on your shoulders. You get to share in the creation of your tomorrow, right? By surrounding yourself with the right people today. So I really, really firmly believe in this idea, and get surrounded by the right experts, mentors, coaches, people that are committed to your growth, committed to helping you fully engage with the process. I'll share with you, I have a client right now who I'm really impressed with, because she's hired not just me, but she's hired 2 other coaches to help her with the writing and publishing and marketing process of her book. That to me is incredible. And, I don't get weirded out by that. Like, oh my gosh, she's working with other coaches. I actually think that is the smartest thing to do. That shows me she's a learner and she's someone who deeply cares about her success. She's in it for the right reason. She's committed to learning. And I have no doubt she's going to be highly successful because of her high level of intention and the way that she's decided early on to create her ultimate book writing and publishing environment by surrounding herself with experts that can help her. It's amazing. And I want you to do the same thing. So there's time left in the year for you to tackle all of this. I want you to do it. Decide on your topic, decide on your target audience, get clear on your goals. What are they? What do you see? What do you envision? And then number 4, make sure that you decide to learn the process. Commit to learning from A to Z how to get your book written, but also how to get it out there, okay? And then the last piece, decide to create the ultimate writing environment and to surround yourself with people that are going to help you follow through on the vision that you see for yourself and achieve your goals. So these are my 5 steps you can take. The good news is you can start on this today. You can start on this right now. You don't have to wait any longer. That's it for today's training. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to leave me a comment down below and let me know how it went for you.